What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Wrestling, and this is my review for the July 27th episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe, follow House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Tonight's AEW Dynamite, it felt like it had a creative determination to get to a destination. By that, I mean, like, they wanted to get things done, make a statement, and like, okay, this is what we're doing. It was clear, cut, precise, to the point. This is what we're doing, and this is where we're going. And past few Dynamites haven't felt that way. It was just more felt like, okay, we are going through this and that, and it's like, it's all right. But tonight, man, this was a fun show. Before I go into the things that I really liked and what I got out of the entire episode, I'll give you guys the recap of the results in the matches. So the opening match was Jon Moxley. He defeated Rush. Then you had Ricky Starks defeat Danhausen. Afterwards, he had an impromptu match, which was an open challenge. Waited a while. Hook answered. Yes, Hook answered. Hook then defeated Ricky Starks for the FTW title. We'll get into that a little bit later. Then you had Sami Guevara defeat Dante Martin. You had Swerve Strickland defeat Tony Nese. You had Thunder Rosa defeat Mia Yamashita. And then you had Daniel Garcia defeat Bryan Danielson. That was the card. For me, when I saw the card, I was like, man, I'm going to look forward to the Swerve Strickland Tony Nese match. I'm going to look forward to the Moxley Rush match. Going to look forward to the Danhausen Ricky Starks match because I figured, I'm like, okay, there's probably going to be some interaction with Hook and Ricky Starks, which I was right. But man, this card, I could say it over-delivered in many ways. But the first hour, man, this was entertaining. This was entertaining. This was fun. I enjoyed it. Interesting about this Dynamite was that you had Jim Ross. He didn't come out in the second hour. He actually did the whole show, which was pretty interesting. The Moxley Rush match, it was a hot crowd. William Regal was on commentary, and he made this reference. And I know people are like, oh, they keep taking shots at WWE. Like, WWE's on their mind. No, it's not, you dummy. He made the remark that the old place that I worked at, they thought Rush was too physical. I was like, ooh, that's interesting. That's an interesting tidbit. Many people would take that, oh, he's giving a shot. It's like, no, it could be just a observation that they had. Duh. I like that. You had Let's Go Moxley chants. You had Rush using actually the ringside cables, which we haven't seen that in, I think Danielson had, I believe it was a belt or something at Double or Nothing. But Rush actually used the cables that you see at ringside, which was like, okay, this is very intense and physical. Like most of the matches throughout the whole card was very intense, physical, a lot of aggression. What I usually say in my reviews, a lot of feistiness, which I like in my wrestling. You had Rush doing his pose, similar to Sami Guevara, pointing at the sky and with his arm on his head. Then there was a point in the match where Andrade pushed Moxley off, and then the Lucha Brothers chase Andrade outside. Like, I like that part. You kind of expected and anticipated Andrade getting involved. I personally thought it was going to lead to Andrade challenging Moxley for the title, which that wasn't the case. But to see the Lucha Brothers come out and they chase Andrade, and mind you, this is the opening match. Like, I'm like, okay, this is really cool to start this show off like this. It's hot. You got something intense. You got guys just ready to battle and just, that whole thing. I loved it, man. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, Jon Moxley defeated Rush. Afterwards, you had Jericho, Anna Jay, Sammy Guevara, Tay Conti, and Angelo Parker. They come out. They're basically running down Moxley. Moxley responds, and we're getting 2 weeks from now. We're getting Jericho versus Moxley. The Quake at the Lake. Jericho mentioned in his promo after Moxley's match that it's been 2 years and he hasn't used his rematch. Yeah, it fits now, even though many people, including myself, are kind of like, I would like Jericho's cool, but like, can you go on to something else? Like, can you do something else? Like, move on. So yeah, we're getting Moxley and Jericho, Quake of the Lake. Jericho's not winning that. Jericho should not win that. If he does, that place is going to go ape shit because people are going to be upset about that. Then afterwards, after this promo, at the commentary table with Excalibur, Taz, and JR, you have finally the AEW Trios title. Yes, the AEW Trios titles. They're back. They're here. Man, this is going to be fun. They made an announcement that there's going to be a tournament. And from what I got out of it, mind you, I'm not saying that this is what it is. This is how it came across to me on the television, that apparently we're going to get the finals of the Trios titles at All Out in Chicago, which that's going to be fun. That's going to be a banger. We know that they've been leading to this Trios title for roughly a year and a half. They've had great Trios matches, and finally, the Trios matches are going to finally have stakes. So they're going to mean something, and I like that. I don't think, I know people are like, oh, it's too many belts. I like it because it gives people something to do. You're already having all these Trios matches. Have it mean something. And let's not forget, AEW has a lot of factions. So this adds to the factions, which I'll get into later, that sound like a broken record. They need to implement more women into their faction so they can implement them on the show. So yeah, we're getting that. Then, shout out to friends and neighbors in Canada. Yes, AEW will be going to Toronto, Canada, October 12th and October 13th. I believe that's what it was, October 13th, or in October they're going to be there in Toronto, that's going to be cool. I know Canada has been waiting for AEW to go there. They originally planned it, but of course with the pandemic and everything, things got postponed, and they're going. So we get the Trios titles announcement, and we get Toronto getting AEW in October. Win-win, man. Everybody wins. And of course, we know that Toronto Canadian wrestling crowd is bonkers. I'll just say that. Bonkers. Wild. Yes. Rowdy. Yes. Especially with this AEW product, this is going to be fun. Then we get a backstage segment of Dante Martin, and he's basically saying with his match with Sami Guevara, like, yeah, Sami has Ty, I got Sky Blue. That's what that backstage segment was. You kind of seen this coming with the match. I was like, okay, he's going to get Sky Blue. They're together. I was like, all right. Then, of course, you get, for me, this was my favorite part of the show. Not saying anything else after this wasn't good. This, for me personally, this was my favorite part of the show. Danhausen versus Ricky Starks. Danhausen comes out. Then there's a promo with Ricky Starks. A video package, which was hilarious. Danhausen taunts Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks taunts Danhausen. They wrestle. Ricky Starks, there was a spot where he hit his neck and he was favoring it through the match. It was like, man, I hope Ricky Starks isn't hurt. And I hope and pray that nobody has any injuries coming out of Dynamite and Rampage, because they don't need any more injuries. And oh my God, man, this was crazy. But Ricky Starks wins. He gets on the mic. He's like, you know what? I'm not done yet. I'm going to do an open challenge. And Taz on commentary, he's like, what are you doing, man? Don't do this. Like, what are you thinking, man? Don't do this. So Ricky Starks, he's challenged. He's like, anybody, come on the back. Come out from the back. He's waiting. Music hits. It's Hook. Here's the interesting thing. Hook came out of the face tunnel. He did not come out of the heel tunnel. Came out the face tunnel. Impromptu match. We have it. I like this. I wish this could be longer. Hopefully you get a rematch. But man, there was a nice reversals that Hook did in this match to Ricky Starks. Very fluid, man. Very like, ooh, man, this brother's good. Then he countered it was gonna be like a razor's edge, and he countered it into a sleeper hold. Got Ricky Starks, tapped him. 1, 2, 3. We have a new FTW champion, Hook. Hook is the new FTW champion. I love this. I'm going to say this. I know that AEW has been drawing the comparison of Darby Allin and Sting, the blonde hair and face paint. He's like Sting, how he was early on. Granted, that is true to some extent, the comparisons. But for me personally, Hook reminds me a lot of Sting in 1987-88 before he fought Ric Flair. And for those of you who don't know, during that time in 87 when Sting was in UWF and they got purchased by Jim Crockett Promotions, and then he was a face in Jim Crockett Promotions, and as soon as he showed up in Jim Crockett Promotions, he had the different look, the energy. He just skyrocketed. And granted, Hook isn't as boisterous and energetic as Sting, but he has that charisma where the crowd just wants to get behind him. The facial expressions, the mannerisms, how smooth he is in the ring. Not saying that Sting was, world-class wrestler back then, but Sting put on some pretty good matches in 88 and even just got better as he went on. So yeah, for me, there is a strong comparison to Hook now to Sting in 1987-88. And I know that from a fact, being a kid back then, that, man, Sting was popular. He wound up being in the six-man tag. It was a six-man tag championship with the Road Warriors that propelled him when they turned on Dusty Rhodes, and that led to Dusty Rhodes and Sting versus the Road Warriors at Starrcade 88. So I do see a similar path that Hook might go on to be one of the top main eventers in AEW. So there's some good stuff ahead with Hook. After this, we go to break. We get a recap of the Hook's victory. Ricky Starks cuts one of the most passionate promos. And actually tonight, a lot of promos were chef's kiss. They were great. He talks about, I took leather and made it gold. When people talked about the FTW title, I had it at high regard. Just goes on and on, man. This was so great. I exceeded expectations. I deserved it. My time was last month. My time is now. He says that. Then, out of nowhere, I'm going to say this, out of nowhere, he says this while Hobbs is right next to him. Powerhouse Hobbs just clotheslined the hell out of Ricky Starks. So apparently they're split up, and apparently we now have a face Ricky Starks. And one thing I've noticed about AEW, and specifically what Tony Khan is doing, and this is actually very smart, and a lot of you who, I am going to say this, you need to give this guy, granted, some of his bookings, it's like, man, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? But for the most part, you need to give Tony Khan credit, because one thing he's doing is those young wrestlers that are getting a huge crowd reaction, he's turning them face. And those that are getting a strong heel faction or heel reaction, he's turning them heel, which is so damn smart and good, man. And it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to where this goes with Hobbs and Starks, and just seeing the crowd reaction with Ricky Starks as a face. This is going to be fun. And the thing is, all this has happened this was in the first hour. This wasn't like, that's what I liked about it. Like, this was in the first hour. And what's crazy is that we still don't know when MJF is coming back. We don't know. That's going to be interesting. Then we get a video package of the Acclaimed. They're basically telling the Ass Boys, the Gun Club, that they got to listen to their music video to find out where their next match is going to be. That's going to be interesting. I remember their last video they did with Darby Allin and Sting. That was freaking hilarious. Then you have Dante Martin versus Sammy Guevara. This match was basically like a hybrid of the WCW Cruiserweight division and the TNA X division, early 2000s. A lot of high-flying spots, which was really cool. There was a spot where Dante Martin did a flip reversal and landed on his leg. You could tell he grimaced his knee. Hopefully he didn't blow out his knee or anything like that. There was a running Spanish fly that he did on Sammy Guevara, which I really liked. Then eventually Sammy Guevara performed the DTS, pinned him 1, 2, 3. Then you had Sammy Guevara beat down Dante Martin, which led to Sky Blue coming in, trying to stop him. Tay Conti got in her face, started talking to her, and then you had Anna Jay come down and jump Sky Blue. They're beating her up. Then out of nowhere, you got Ruby Soho, Kingston, and Ortiz coming in to make the save, and there was a huge Eddie Kingston chant. So eventually we're going to get Eddie Kingston versus Sammy Guevara, which I don't mind. And there's a part of me that sees with Sammy Guevara, for some reason, he's naturally annoying. I don't know why. It just, he's better as a heel. He reminds me of Tully Blanchard in the 80s, where he just had this obnoxious, sarcastic, condescending presence that you're just like, I just want someone to beat the hell out of him. And it's so damn convincing, man. And it's so good, man. I enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to where that goes. Then you had a backstage segment where Daniel Garcia, he's basically saying, after tonight, I'm going to show people why I'm the greatest technical wrestler alive. That was crazy. Then you get a backstage segment with Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Sanam Singh. Basically talking about Samoa Joe. And then the best friends come out, and they're dressed in like these tie-dye suits, but they look like the freaking Sour Patch bags. Like, that's what their outfits look like, the Sour Patch bags. And the best friends bait them into a 6-man tag match on Rampage. That should be fun. I seen the results. I'm not giving away. You're just going to have to find it or watch it on Friday. Then we get Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus. This was another great segment. Mind you, we already had Ricky Starks give a great promo, and then the Hobbs turn. Jungle Boy, oh my. I don't know what he's getting out of this Christian Cage, but man, he said some stuff I believe I have only heard on ECW TV. And that's saying something because most of ECW's television in the late 90s came on at like 11:30 at night, on a Saturday. So he basically called Christian Cage the biggest poo nanny. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to say the full word because I don't want to get a violation by YouTube or anything like that. But yes, he said he is the biggest kitty cat. There you go. The biggest kitty cat he ever met. He said everything about this is BS. You're a bitch ass. He brings up his divorce. He's like, you're not going to hurt me. You just talk shit to talk shit. And then Christian Cage interrupts. And there's a part of me that was like, man, they should have done that a little bit cleaner as far as the transition, because Christian Cage interrupting and Jungle Boy still talking and everything. It's just like, normally you don't do that. Like, huh? But then it dawned on me, I was like, you know what? If you're heated and you're emotional, you're going to get out what you want to say and you're not going to turn. And he turned late and he's like, oh, what's it? So I see both sides if people had an issue with it, but I love this. So Christian Cage basically says, you told me all your secrets and now I'm going to make you pay for it. So it's eventually going to lead to a match. I'm looking forward to it. But man, this Jungle Boy promo, man, AEW has some young studs that are going to, man, oh man, they got some young stallions that are going to talk. This is going to be fun in the next 5 years, AEW. This is going to be good. Then you get a backstage segment with the Young Bucks, and they're telling Brandon Cutler, cut it, and he starts bringing up, hey, there's a 6-man tag, and hey, me and you. He's like, no, and then they run into Hangman, and you could tell Matt Jackson wants to apologize and like make amends with Hangman Page. Dark Order comes in, they interrupt, and they're like, no, you know what, go celebrate and everything. So you can see that there is a subtle face turn with the Young Bucks. So we might get Hangman Page and the Young Bucks as a 6-man tag, or this could be the Young Bucks swerving. Actually, no, I don't think it's going to be a swerve. But it's going to be interesting where this goes. I like this segment because they've been teasing it on BTE. They've teased it at when Hangman won the title. So they've been subtly teasing it. And they teased it when the Young Bucks lost their world titles. Hangman Page was at ringside and he looked and he walked to the back. So they've been teasing it. So this is going to be interesting. Things are coming together. I like that. Then you had Tony Nese versus Swerve Strickland. This was a dope match. I loved it. Love watching Swerve Strickland. His stuff, man, so damn good. He eventually wins. And then, as he's celebrating, they cut to the back. And Keith Lee's laid out. Like, he is just laid out. And the cameras get I like the camera shot because they got a low facial shot of Keith Lee. And then it just pans up. And it's Josh Woods. Yes, former Pure World Champion, Pure Ring of Honor Champion, Josh Woods. He's standing there. And then you see Tony Nese. He attacks Swerve Strickland. So apparently we're going to get Tony Nese and Josh Woods versus Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee at some point. That should be interesting. Or we might get Keith Lee and Josh Woods on a Dynamite or Rampage. I'm going to look forward to it because Josh Woods versus Jonathan Gresham back in, oh man, what pay-per-view was that? I believe it was July or something like that, or September, one of those months. They had a really good match for the Pure title, which Josh Woods won. Then you get a video package of the House of Black. Freaking Malachi Black, man. That dude cuts some of the creepiest, strangest, most compelling, engaging, and entertaining promos. Somehow he captures all those emotions in one. I like this promo. I like the fact that they show the footage that has gone viral. One, when Brody King attacked Darby Allin at a signing, and then they showed footage of Malachi Black and Brody King attacking Darby Allin at the San Diego Comic-Con and putting him on the table. They showed that. Malachi Black mentions, I'm going to put you on the throne. You sought to worship him, and I'm going to have people worship you. Basically referring to Miro. Then Brody King comes out from the back, like their normal House of Black promos, and he challenges Darby Allin to a coffin match. So we're going to get Darby Allin versus Brody King in a coffin match. I like this feud because for some reason, I'm going to put this feud right up there with Swerve Strickland and Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. AEW this year has fortunately run into some things that are very organic. Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia, their whole ascension. This Brody King, Darby Allin, man, this is such a cool dynamic, and it's so damn fun and entertaining. So this is going to be interesting how this plays out. Then we get the women's match. Mia Yamashita and Thunder Rosa. I have a lot of issues with this match, and it's not with the women. One, the women's matches, everything on Dynamite tonight felt so unpredictable, but the women's match, and that is not good. AEW is known as being unpredictable, full of surprises, intensity, aggression. Just, you don't know what's going to happen. You know something's going to happen, but you don't know what. And for the past, I want to say revolution, you could say, maybe a little bit longer, but it feels like the women's division is very predictable. If you don't have a title, you are rarely on TV. If you are, you're on Rampage. In spite, my personal feeling, I believe that AEW, with all the injuries that they've had, and it's mostly been on the men's division, if you're having all these injuries on the men's division, you should actually implement more women's matches. And not because there's injuries mostly in the men's division, but you want to start creating a balance where you have just as many men's matches as women's matches. And you want to have that balance, so as you get in the habit of putting more, just as much women's matches as men's matches, now you have a complete product that's unpredictable. And this was very very predictable. The time slot, it's right before the main event, which it's been like that for months now. I don't know why. I wish it would be in the first hour. Again, there's only been one women's match that started Dynamite. That was Jade Cargill and Shaq versus Cody and Red Velvet. There's not been any other women's match, and that's not good. They definitely have to improve that. You have the talent, the women's roster to do that. If you choose not to do it, that's either a lack of attention to detail or you don't want to. And I don't think it's you don't want to. I think it's more so there's a lack of attention to detail. And that's been prevalent with the statements that Big Swole has made and Awesome Kong has made, and a few that Thunder Rosa has made it was reported that Thunder Rosa, let me rephrase that. It was reported that Thunder Rosa had a little bit frustrations. And mind you, it's nothing wrong with that. We see it. There's an imbalance in the women's division. There needs to be more balance in the women's division that helps AEW overall. Then you get Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. There was a lot of yes chants when Bryan Danielson came out. What I didn't like about this match was the opening, where Bryan Danielson kept on kicking Garcia. You hear the chants. You hear they're loud. They do not go to a wide shot of Danielson kicking Garcia, and it's like you missed an opportunity to showcase like this whole crowd going apeshit for the yes chants. The crowd was electric. No matter what, this crowd was electric for this match. Bryan Danielson was very aggressive, intense. There was a point where there was a move in a corner, and I hope he's okay. I hope it's nothing serious. I hope it was something that he was selling, but he was just, just very tired or fatigued. He would do a move, drop to a drop, do a move, drop. I don't know if it was like this match really blurred the lines. Once he got back on his feet, he did his normal kicks. There was a spot where he countered a Daniel Garcia move into a sleeper, which was so dope. And then as they're by the ring side, they're on their backs and they're by the ring post, a hand comes up and it's grabbing Danielson's foot, and he's trying to perform, like get back on his feet and perform, and Daniel Garcia takes advantage of it, and then he winds up putting Danielson in a submission hold. Danielson just passes out. He wins. Garcia wins. And it's revealed that it's Jake Hager. So it sets up Daniel Garcia being ascended more, where eventually he's either going to, I personally think it's eventually going to lead for Daniel Garcia to get kicked out of the Jericho Appreciation Society, and he'll eventually go to the Blackpool Combat Club. This was an intense match. It was physical. I hope Bryan Danielson is okay. But man, overall, this show was so much fun. They can improve the women's division a lot better. Like, they need to do that. Outside of that, this was a wild show. Did not expect the Powerhouse Hobbs heel turn, or to turn on Ricky Starks. Did not anticipate the promo that Jungle Boy cut. Did not think they would put the title on Hook so fast. This was a great show. Looking forward to Rampage, but also I'm looking forward to next Wednesday's Dynamite, man. This was so much fun. Like I said, this show felt like it was creatively determined to get to a destination. And AEW Dynamite hasn't felt like that in a while. But man, this was fun. There was a lot of things on this show, and there was a lot of nuggets. And I know a lot of people mention, oh, there's not enough storytelling. There's a lot of things in here that's going to lead to another ace. Like, there are stories within stories on this show. But man, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what else to say, man. I had a good time watching this show. And I had a lot of interest and intrigue in this show, considering what's happening in the other place and all the changes they're making, and just the optimism and the anticipation of the product improving in WWE. I was very interested to see what AEW was going to do and what statement they were going to make with their product. And they delivered. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Impact Wrestling is going to do tomorrow. But man, this was a fun show. I would tell you, if there was a few things to watch, there's actually this whole show. Watch the whole show. But man, the Ricky Starks, Hook, Hobbs, that whole thing was so entertaining. The Jungle Boy promo, that was great. The Moxley Roosh match was great. Daniel Garcia versus Danielson was great. So just looking forward to seeing what it was, or where this goes. I don't know what it was. Where this goes. Like I always say, man, I had a very busy day, and this show, I totally forgot of all the things I did this morning, and that's a good show to me. Monday Night Raw did the same thing. So hopefully this continues with these companies, that they put on stellar shows during the week, which we benefit. So I like it. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And hey, there's a lot of changes happening in wrestling. Let's see what happens. But man, the ending of 2022 looks very promising, optimistic, and hopefully it's a complete 180 to how the beginning of 2022 started, with all the chaos and just craziness. But hopefully this ends on a positive. This is the beginning of a positive end to 2022. So with that,